Hey Adelaide, it's your boy Con from Brighton Trophy Centre.
Follow my team.
Men. You ready, mate? Party people!
And now it's time, live from the Oscar Studios, it's Best Team Men.
I mean, best team men, are we changing the title, mate? Because woman!
Yes, best team man. It is Andy Martin, Jarrod Walsh, Matty Burgess still on the sidelines, so we have back in the studio. Everything is better, especially when she's got food in her mouth.
Yeah,
it's Rosie
turn the music
Panetta.
down so we can hear her.
No, I'm...
All right, now turn the music back up.
I'm such a slow eater. Oh, I'm going to choke. I'm trying to rush this down.
Look,
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
there's so much. Like, I think we're going to have another segment called Sexy Rosie later on. We're going to use those little edit
I
points.
eat into the microphone.
We need to have a team meeting.
Stop talking.
Yeah, let's have a team meeting to start this off. Okay, so first of all, shout out to Con and Lena at Brighton Trophy Centre, Stavros, Steve the Pirate at Mind and Movement Physio, and the boys at Shifty Lizard. We have an update on the Shifty sound a little bit later on. I think we need to have a team meeting because this is now the second time Rosie's been here officially, because it's the third time because we didn't record the first time.
Hey, whoa. Let's not talk about that.
Rosie, we all have one common goal when it comes to our team, and that is putting on a great, entertaining podcast. But when you share a common goal, it means to have honest conversations. All right, the two worst-sounding things in the world are people eating and people speaking while they're eating, and you have done both into a microphone since being here. That needs to stop.
And you've also added to the mix a full mouthful of food, your voice, and then you've put water in there to just swish it around to make it sound a bit more wet.
Disgusting.
You can't hear that in the mic.
Yeah,
We
you
heard
can. These are
everything.
microphones.
Okay, before we get this properly and officially and professionally underway,
Yeah.
do I have rocket in my teeth?
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's literally, we thought it was SpaceX. There's so much rocket going around.
Well, just in case you're hungry later, you can have the other half of the salad that's in your teeth. Are we good to start now, or what?
Yeah, we're going to start.
Oh, because it's funny at home. When I eat dinner with my wife, I turn the TV up really loud or put on noise cancelling headphones because I can't stand the sound of her eating.
I would have thought, knowing you would have managed that out over the years,
No, it's
because
difficult.
that's been a pretty strong complaint about the relationship for the last 10 years, 12 years that I've known you.
Look, I think soup has almost drove me to divorce my very good-looking husband.
Really?
Because
Wow.
The
he
slurp?
slurps.
Yeah.
Really?
Big man slurps.
There's just
Wow.
so many things.
Wow. That's
Guys,
another
like,
podcast.
Everything I say
Oh,
is in
far
the
out.
gutter.
If this is the first time people have heard Rosie Panetta, she is from the podcast. I just ate half a salad and spoke throughout the whole time. Now it's in my teeth and I'm hungry with Taylor Paley.
Yeah.
And also game day at Port Adelaide. So we're glad to have you back, Rosie.
And we haven't spoken about, before you reply to Jared's statement there, we haven't spoken about, you actually tour schools and talk and empower women.
Legally.
Legally.
I have a
Unfortunately, myself and Jared can't go. But
working
that's
with
another story.
children's check.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Currently doing that through Enlighten Education, which empowers young women. It's probably a really good week to, touch on that particularly.
You should start a podcast. So it's really good to have you here. And the great thing is, what we noticed about last week was, and we noticed this as well when we started it, you kind of tread a little bit lightly. Now, do you feel
I do
a little bit more
I have
free?
a lot of feelings.
That
Wow.
brilliant. Do you feel a little bit more free? You got that off your chest last week in regards to some radio stuff, and now we can just have fun.
Yes. Yeah. Last week I did feel like I almost cried. But I feel like that's gone. If you make me cry today, that's for very different reasons.
All right, let's talk about your honesty. Let's get back into that.
So we got a lot coming up.
We're open. It's great.
Someone has guessed the Shifty sound.
In 2
so we
weeks.
will announce the winner at the end of this round and give away the voucher to Shifty Liz. Someone guessed it on
Did it
social
involve
media.
flicking anything?
Wow.
Well,
Again,
Rosie,
this is an
you
incredible...
are real, there's some really adult things coming out of your mouth.
We definitely have to put explicit on this episode.
We do. But that's great. You can tell she's relaxed a little bit. I wonder what I'm going to say. I wonder if people from my former employer are going to listen. I wonder if this is going to affect anything going forward. Like, mate, fuck off. Just enjoy yourself in here.
If anything, you probably get a job out of talking about that sort of stuff. No, I was going to say, with the Shifty sound, we'll talk about this later, of course, but I don't know what it is. Rosie doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
You obviously do because
fair idea,
you
yeah.
had to work out who won.
Had to work out who won. Yeah.
So I guess...
Who recorded it?
Well,
there's
we'll talk
a
about that
long-
later,
there's a long
but
story.
have a think about it. We'll give our own guesses.
Okay.
And, not now, but when we talk about it later on.
Okay, so there's one kind of radio thing I need to mention. We do have Sexy Sam coming up. We've got the Back to the Future quiz and some other stuff. We need stories from our lives. There's one radio thing that happened to me that I forgot to mention last round because I thought last round was important to establish who you were, Rosie. And a lot of people actually got in touch and they said they really enjoyed listening to you, which is really nice.
Yay.
So shout out to that one person, Christopher. It was lovely hearing your
I was going to
husband.
say my mum, but she doesn't have listened to podcasts. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
okay. But you missed. I think you missed. Are you talking about the story that you brought up this week with Ali Clark on ABC?
No.
Oh, the story with.
Did you listen to that?
No, but I assumed it was a story about the thing that fell out.
The
in
thing with the
shop.
kangaroo? Yeah,
Wow.
no. Yeah.
Again. Rosie. Oh,
She
my
has found her home on the podcast.
Welcome home, Rosie. Welcome home.
No, so
The worst thing is I don't intend them to be that. Anyway,
that was a really cool experience going into the ABC because I got a call from Ali saying, "Look, there's a little segment that's called Adelaide After Dark. Do you want to come in and talk about something that fun that happened to you?" And I think I told you about Kangaroo Island when I pulled out Rain's undies out of my pocket, filling up. Yeah. So the interesting thing was. Because I enjoy being in that environment over the phone, like she was like, you can just do it over the phone or pre-record if you want. I'm like, no, I'll come in. She's like, what do you mean? It's 6:30 in the morning. I said, yeah, I've got kids. I don't sleep.
And
So I
also,
was
you're
there.
at the gym at 5 most
that's
mornings.
it.
I
So-
wake up, scroll my Insta, I'm like, wow, he's been awake for 5 hours already, and I'm just getting out of bed.
It was good fun going in and experiencing that. Everything's different though. Right down to the point I remember this is the first kind of radio studio I've been in
beautiful
since.
studio.
It's very nice there. But even something as simple as the headphones sound different because you're so used to going in for a different sounding headphone.
Yeah,
So it was bizarre. I didn't prepare anything. I just went in and spoke and it was really enjoyable. The big thing though, and I think that I've learned this because my dad was at the ABC for so long, I've got it trained in my mind that you can't mention anything commercial. So I used the line of over there, like over on Kangaroo Island, I went over to the petrol station and obviously the petrol stations aren't like the ones over here. And what I would normally have said was, it's not like OTR where there's a C coffee, but I had to change my language to go, there's not drive-through coffee or anything convenient like that. So it's because they get into trouble at the ABC if they mention anything commercially. So with sport.
You used to have to like football park instead of.
Definitely football park instead of Amy Stadium.
That's what it used to be like at Fresh back in the day.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
Their license didn't allow you to say any commercial business names because that was within the 5 minutes of advertising that was counted.
Exactly. So you just say at the end, fresh sponsor. You just get away with
BBC
it.
sponsor.
Yeah. We are a community station that says fresh sponsor. That is getting us away with it. Yeah,
That was probably my favourite bit when I used to put together ads and promos and I'd do the fresh sponsor bit on the end.
Were you the fresh sponsor guy?
Wasn't it a woman?
No, yeah, we rotated over the
I was
years.
like waiting for you to do your best female voice.
Like,
Yeah,
there was a couple of promos going around last year and I was like, fresh sponsor. Like,
That's cool.
Actually, that does ring a bell.
You're the
That
fresh
does ring a
sponsor
bell.
guy.
yeah, no, I was one of them, yeah.
Because I'm the Metropolitan Plumbing guy. You know how weird is that? Yeah, it's pretty
That was
sweet. Yeah, I can do
amazing.
that.
Just
yeah.
getting everyone wet across the world.
Oh my god! Remember we had a girl that we used to work with at Nova, Macy, who just did this weird thing. Like she made some noise with her hands. She go da 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 da, and that was
it
her
was
party
like,
trick,
Was it like
Daffy
you
Duck sound.
or like a duck calling thing.
that duck's dead. Is that duck been hit by a
That
car?
is the dying duck.
That's a duck during duck season.
That's one of those
Yeah.
Morford Street ducks that try to cross the road and hit the other side.
That's
Yeah.
the next Shifty sound. So the radio thing I wanted to talk about was on Adelaide Cup Day, my wife came up to me and she said, hey, we've been invited to this place at Glenelg on the marina to go there for lunch. Like they said, hey, you can have a free lunch, which is awesome. So they said to my wife, Gabby, if you put some stuff on your socials, that'd be awesome. Like just come there, you can get pizza and Aperol Spritz. Never had one of them before until I had on Monday.
I've always seen it.
Don't know what I think of it. It's a bit...
I'm over them because remember that year I had like 10 weddings in 1 year. Anyway, I got
Yeah, we all like had a full count at home about how many weddings you went to that
No, I
year.
used to-
Rose is going to another wedding. Another 20.
You'd be like, what did you do on the weekend? I'd be like, went to another wedding. And there was Aperol Spritzers at all of them, and I can't do them
They're a bit
anymore.
weird.
They're a bit
What the hell is
sweet.
Yeah,
it?
they're
Isn't
a
it
bit-
like an old drink they've tried to bring back?
I don't think so, but they've just...
Aperol, which is an aperitif.
What's an
or-
aperitif?
What's that?
Like
Sounds like something you'd have in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like it's like a liqueur. And then you
Okay.
have to mix it, and you mix it with Prosecco.
Very orangey and bitter.
Yeah. It's
It's a bit weird. So we had heaps of them because they were free. And then we had pizza, and it was brilliant. But we rocked up, and there was supposed to be Gabby, my wife, our 2 kids, and then we invited our neighbours. So there was Mandy and Travis and their 2 kids. So there were 8 of us. So we got to this place, and we said to the people there, because we were quite early, we're like, hey, we've got a table under Gabby. And they were like, we don't really know what's happening here, but your name isn't here or the table isn't here. And I said to Gabby, call the PR company that had emailed her and said, do you want to come and do this? So she's like, oh, just wait, I'll send her a message. The guy's come back and he said, we do have a table though for 8 people. It's under Nova.
Oh my God. Yes, please tell me that they've done that because of you.
So we sat there and
you were useless to that building.
We enjoyed everything, right? We enjoyed the food, the pizzas, the drinks. I had a glass of wine, which was very nice. The kids started playing up. So Rain was there with her friend Penny, who are of similar ages, and they were just running around. And it was like the crowd was quite older, so they were dancing, trying to get the kids to dance, and it was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And it basically got to the end of the afternoon where Rain started playing up. Aspen, youngest daughter, was crying, and it was time to go home. But the manager walked out to thank us for coming, and she came up and introduced herself to me, and she's like, hey, thank you so much for coming. Sorry, I'm a bit hungover, had a big night last night, but it's really good you guys could make it. And then the next part really stood out because she said, yeah, we're thinking of buying some advertising on Nova. So it'd be really amazing to talk more about that. And I'm just like nodding, going, yeah. And then she's like, yeah, I really enjoy listening to you. And I'm just going, just nodding. Yeah. And then that was it. So we walked away.
And then I charged the bill to the Nova building.
Well, no, we didn't pay for it. So I turned to Gabby and said, I think they've gone to you to get to me because my Nova email obviously doesn't work anymore.
So everyone walks away from that experience feeling like shit.
Well,
but also lucky.
It was weird. Great food. The service was awesome. The drinks were good.
It's very pretty too.
I haven't worked at Nova for 6 months.
Yeah.
And they still think that they're enjoying listening to me.
They're enjoying your content.
Well, 2 things.
Best you've done.
The 2 things they were like, yeah, I love you. I love listening to you when you say things like, maybe you're in Adelaide, maybe you're not, and stuff like that. And you're like, that's not me. But also the greatest thing that would have happened if a guy with a beard came up and said, hey guys, we've got a listener party coming in a second. Hey legends, we've got a listener party starting here in about half an hour. I just want to know if you guys are going to pay for the food.
That's what I thought. I was really nervous that the Nova crew were going to come up.
Yeah.
But it was such a weird experience.
That's crazy.
Walking away going, I'm still yet to figure out whether they just made that connection.
That's a compliment in a way. They still think you're there.
But not to my wife, who the whole time leading up to that thought, oh, wow, people want me to come and promote their event.
Yeah, they don't care about you.
No, they
They want your husband.
No.
It was very strange. But the other radio thing, which was quite interesting, I wanted to play you something. Andy, do you mind getting that attachment to plug my phone in?
Yeah, Rosie was trying to charge a phone with it earlier. And
oh, really?
Yeah, didn't charge it a bit.
You know how last week we were talking about going to the toilet and taking your clothes off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we said that there was actually someone that we used to work with that did that.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, there's something going on here because either the breakfast show at Fresh listened to our podcast or this is a running thing across South Australia. Have a listen to this.
No. Hell no.
You know, someone who used to work here was.
That's a lie. I think it's you.
No, it's not.
Who is it? Name it.
I'm not going to name it because
it.
they will sue us.
I'll turn the mics off quickly and drop it.
No.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Had to get 100% naked every time we went to the toilet.
Wow.
It's a thing that some people have.
So how long's Kale been doing that for?
Well, that's because Dave worked for Fresh.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's an easy one. Was it Dave or Dave knew that person?
But they were telling it on their radio show. But coincidentally, it was a few days after we spoke about it on this podcast and revealed that Dave was the nude dumper.
Well, I mean, their podcast is on the Ozcast Network, so they could be cross.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hey, if Loz and Tomo listen to this podcast, thank you. We appreciate it. Welcome. Or if someone fed that information, then why not?
Yeah. What are you going to say, Rosie?
I'm just. So there's just one person who gets naked and does a shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I love how comfortable you are.
I don't think it's a.
It's just one person. And
Wait,
their
are you
story-
saying that because you're trying to compare yourself to them?
No, I'm just like, it's just one person and their story's just getting a run on all.
Well, what would you do
Yeah.
if you found out Chris was doing it all this time and he never told you, but now he heard the podcast? He goes, no, I do that too.
You know what? I don't really want to know what goes on behind that door. We'll leave that.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, okay.
There's a bit more to that than we need to unpack
No.
later on.
Yes, there's a fair bit of unpacking.
There's some things I don't think need to be shared in a marriage. What did you say?
It's something about unpacking and packing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Hey, can you tell us about your? Obviously, you've got the. I had a pasta, now I've got diarrhea podcast, but the other one is I'm Italian and I'm going to whinge about stuff.
No.
So, what do you normally whinge about?
No, so that was like my first podcast.
Yeah.
They're all. Well, it's a couple of years old now, but I think some of the chats. Go look at it. Some of the chats are still
But
very
we won't
relevant.
listen to it, yeah.
No, because they were just like because I feel like I used to always say I hate to whinge, but I had a lot of stuff to whinge about. I think I might still do that. But they were like chats about like people who had like valid things to whinge about. Like one of them was about people being homophobic. So
Yeah.
with one of my friends who came out. After trying to go to a hypnotist to try and
Yeah.
to hypnotize the gay out.
What?
Yeah.
Far out.
So like people with real like things you actually should whinge about, you know, like equal rights with women this week and stuff. So just like proper things to complain about. Just
You know
like
my
open
favourite
up.
one?
Yeah.
Was when you interviewed a mermaid.
Yep, and she was complaining about all the plastic in the ocean.
Yeah.
But she did come. It was a live. It was a
that a
live.
real thing?
Yeah, it was at the Adelaide
Yeah, her
Podcast
name's
Festival.
Mermaid Salacia. You can look her up. She still does.
Falacia.
Not Salacia.
Great
Salacia.
band. Great band. Oh, God.
She used to just.
Good old machine gun.
And then they changed it to make it more politically correct. And it's called themselves Machine Gun. She used
Machine gun splatter. No?
I couldn't have a conversation with her because she was just so in your face.
yeah, she used to just. Oh, that took me way too long to realize. She used to just pop up.
Oh. Wow. This is definitely an innuendo sort of
real
podcast going on
sexy
today.
podcast,
It
Rosie.
really is. Thanks for being comfortable.
Okay, I don't know how to say this, but she used to like arrive on the beaches without like from the ocean. So then kids would be like, "There's a mermaid," and then she'd talk about like.
How would she get in and how far down the beach would she
I
get
have
in
no
to
idea.
make them
We're
not see
talking
her?
about a pretend mermaid,
Yeah,
right?
like
Yeah,
she
she
puts
had a full
she puts
suit.
on a thing, and so we
Yeah.
did the live podcast show, and I.
So what
and
happens is after she finishes the interview, she's like, "Yeah, I'll just take my
that's-
tail off now and walk away."
The weird thing was she had this tail on and she can't move. So my husband and my brother had to carry this mermaid
gosh.
onto the stage.
It was so awkward to watch.
And she was.
So weird.
Yeah, there's a fish getting put on stage by two guys.
Let's have a photo.
She was
Two guys and a
lovely.
fish. And they got cups.
Rosie, I do have a serious question, which I'll get to. We need to break it up though, because I don't want to lead that into the next question. Watch Wedding Crashers last night. You know that with Owen Wilson and Vince
Oh,
Vaughn.
yeah.
Man, I'm not an attractive guy, right? But Owen Wilson's nose is real fucked up.
Yeah.
And how did he get? He's like made $70 million.
Was he born with that? Or was that Maybelline? Like, was he like? Is that
I
something
don't,
that?
I don't know, but it's a weird thing.
It's
Yeah.
like I've definitely Googled before and then not retained the information.
Yeah, it's a weird one. What,
like
Maybelline or Owen Wilson?
Oh, Wilson's nose.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question I wanted to ask you, and we're glad that we have you here, because you were talking about this week.
Yeah.
So serious question, and it's difficult to kind of segue into that, but I want to. Because we could sit here normally on Best Team Men and just assume we know what we're talking about, or talk about things from the perspective of a woman, like our partners.
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of things circulating at the moment in regards to what's happened this week. As a woman, like,
And he's referring to all the rallies that have happened about
correct, and
people feeling safe.
yeah. So
Women
is
feeling
safe? Can you talk about that element of thing, the safety side of things? Like if the fringe is on at the moment, if you were by yourself and had to walk to your car, which was over the other side of the city, is there an element of you feeling unsafe?
I would always specifically choose like routes that are popular with people. Like
Yep.
I wouldn't go down a dark street. And I mean, yeah, I mean, we've all had, maybe we haven't all, like experience where someone's like forced themselves on you a little bit and you have to like, you know, be like, get away, get back. So like, it's not, yeah, it's very, unfortunately, easy to find examples in my life and people's lives. But one of my really good friends, she worked at the ABC actually. And she used to park in the back streets there. and she used to do late shifts, and she used to call me every late shift because she
Yeah.
didn't even feel safe walking from that building in that suburb there to her car. She'd be like, just talk to me. I've got 5 minutes to get to my car. And then sometimes I'd miss the call, and then I'd be like, I got to quickly call her back and see if she's okay. Like, and it's just normal. Like, that's what you did to just make sure your friend was okay because she's a chick walking in the dark.
Yeah.
And like, that shouldn't be the norm, really.
Well, I'm
Like,
glad you said that because there's an element of the norm which I think that there's so much much inappropriate conduct which is normalised.
Mm-hmm.
When we all worked in the media, I will be very careful how I say this because I don't want to get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But we always use the phrase that we're not working in a bank. So the language that was used within the workplace, we're not wearing uniforms or anything like that. It was quite a casual conversation with people. However, the amount of inappropriate conduct that I'm assuming goes on in the media is unbelievable. And the amount that people turn a blind eye to is also completely irresponsible and really poor.
Especially in social settings, like media particularly.
Correct.
There can be a healthy amount of drinking at social events.
Yes.
As they can in any industry, but particularly, and yeah, I've definitely, I wouldn't say what I've heard or who from, but yeah, it's normalised. Like,
If they did a
we were
deep
drinking
investigation into it, there would be a lot of people in the media concerned about what would come out, just like is happening in politics where the right thing is happening now while people are looking deep into this going, this is unacceptable. And we've seen that stuff like within workplaces that we've been in that people have turned a blind eye to either to avoid controversy, to avoid a tough decision, worried about, oh no, this might affect their livelihood if we sack them. Are you serious? Like, what are you putting as a priority now? And this isn't something which I think is only new to the scene. This has been going on forever, and it's taken too long for people to start acting on it.
A mate of mine worked in Canberra for a good whack of time, maybe 10 years. And he used to come back here and he'd tell me some stories about the media and politicians and how bad that gets going on over there.
Yeah, and as I saw last night
ridiculous.
on the news, they were like, the journalists were saying something along the lines of the problem now is that these policymakers have to make some new policies, but they're trying to work out their own shit at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how are they supposed to make the right call when they've been making the wrong call for so long?
Yeah.
Like to give an example, like this is obviously not everyone, but the example is you have a sleazy older politician and all these young up-and-coming media journalists in Canberra. Things happen, but it's not the right thing for those young women.
No, mate.
It's fucking atrocious.
There's a huge predatorial attitude by people in
that
different
power thing?
industries. It is, mate.
Yeah.
And there's an element of gaslighting of saying this is good for you if you do this, but it's just how much it would affect young women, especially, is just unacceptable. And
Wrecks their life.
it does, mate. And to see some people, even regarding what's happened over the past fortnight in Canberra, yes, there needs to be justice needs to serve its course and it needs to go through the courts and everything like that. But still, I think it's fascinating. We spoke about this a couple of months ago when footballers were getting into trouble using illicit drugs.
Yeah.
We, as people of an industry, have seen so much stuff happen that some of the key commentators who are shutting down what's happened or saying, no, this is unacceptable, are the same people that are letting it happen under their watch in so many industries. And I'm not just saying it's media. I'm saying it's the majority of industries, this stuff happens.
That's what we know. That's why you're using it as an
It's
example.
exactly right. And I think it is difficult. Like, I think it would be a really tough thing to be a woman, especially when safety is concerned.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was a sales rep in the food industry. So you would go to, your big food places, right? And
Like a supermarket?
I just don't want to say any words because
Okay, no, you're keeping it generic. All right,
yeah,
good
and
work.
there was one instance where the company she was working for is a big international brand and went there to the store and the store manager had been verbally abusing her in a way sexually for ages, right? But
Yeah.
you just sort of blow it off because it's like he's a client. You get to roll with it.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where she walked into the office, he shut the door and sexually abused her, and then told her work, and they just fobbed it off because he was a big paying client, and just had to let it go.
Yeah, there's too many examples to just let
there's so many examples.
And, don't
Yeah.
open the comment section to any advertiser story because it makes me so angry. Just really all the numb nuts.
I've got a theory on that. I've got a theory. Anyone who goes into forums and comments and on articles and people who comment, I think they've got not enough time or they've got too much time on their hands to sit down and fill out stuff, especially if you're not going to put your name to it. Like,
those anonymous ones are terrible.
Basketball forums,
It's
people who
not
go in
all
there and
men
sit
stuff
and just.
like that. I'm like, no, anyway.
Yeah, they just.
Not going to give them any more airtime.
Well, we appreciate your honesty on that because I think we like to talk about all different things on this podcast. It was a question without notice. This is also a statement without notice. Happy birthday to Ripley, who is a big listener of the podcast, Ripley Scott, and it's his birthday today. That has no tie into anything we've just spoken about.
I don't know what's going on.
Should I sing?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
You know what? I'd prefer that than hearing bloody Jack Greens in a mouth earlier, the big salad.
Lucky nothing came out just then.
What's been going on with you, Andy?
It's been another crazy week, really. One thing that's been happening to me lately is I have been running into people that I haven't seen for like 20, 30 years, or people that I have been talking about with someone else, and they'll then pop up either the same day or the next day.
Yep.
It is fucking weird, and I hope it means that I'm doing a good thing in my life that shit's
Unless
happening.
you were saying bad things about them and then they appear. And you're
Constructive would be a
G'day, mate,
term
you're well.
maybe use. Like, to give an example, I was at lunch with a mate of mine and we're talking about this person, and that person, as soon as we started
that's full on.
walk past the window, then that same person who I haven't seen in ages, I then ran into in the city the next day.
Can you read my palm? Because clearly there's some clairvoyancy going on there.
There's some white stuff on there. That's weird.
No, that's feta from my lunch.
Okay, all right, some feta. Yep. Everything's better with Rosie Panetta and feta. Rosie Feta, everyone.
That's weird. You know why you say that? It's interesting. I had a dream 2 weeks ago. For some reason, Paul Bonza was in my dream. Now,
Such exciting dreams.
I know. Paul Bonza.
Well, Paul's pretty exciting.
He is. So he's on SEN now, actually, doing the Woodville West Torrens show on SEN. He does commentary for Cricket Australia. He's a jet, and I'm really glad to see how far his progression and journey has gone. Because I remember sitting with him in a Nova studio doing fake PA reads for Adelaide Oval just so they could hear his voice. And then he became the PA announcer for the Strike. It's like, it's unbelievable. But I had a dream about him. And then I woke up and my phone went, boop, message Paul Bonza.
Yeah, that's
so weird.
That's better than I thought. I woke up and Paul was there.
Yeah.
Great kisser.
That was the next part of the story, actually.
And then I had feta all on my hands. Sorry, continue.
And yeah, so I keep running into these people, and I've run into cousins that I hadn't seen in like 15 years randomly that were taking an Auskick thing, and they were looking after one of the boys, and then and I didn't even recognise him, and then he came over, and then boom, we're like, whoa, this is crazy. There was this one where we were in a supermarket, and this girl comes up to me. I didn't recognise her at all, and she's like, "Is Andrew?" And I was like, oh, fuck, this must be from like 15 years ago or 20 years ago because no one calls me that.
Andrew.
I was like, who's she talking about?
Yeah, unless I'm in trouble.
That's how little we...
Yes, Daddy.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And Yaz is like, oh, for fuck's sake, this always happens at the moment. Everyone keeps coming up to me and like introducing themselves.
Where's my money, man? Where's my money?
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about you. And then run off. And she was like, I'm Nicole. And then I introduced her to...
This is your son.
Yeah. And because she had 4 kids. And I was like, fuck.
Oh, no.
I'm done. I guess I don't have 8 kids. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, she was a family friend, like, many years ago, and hadn't seen her in, probably 20 years. And then we tried to explain to Yaz how we knew each other.
Yeah.
And her dad was my dad's basketball coach at school. That's how weird it was,
You get a very
right?
sporting family.
Yeah, very sporting.
Apart from you.
Except for you,
apart from-
yeah.
Oh, I beat Japan. At swimming, so there you go.
You
didn't
beat Japan.
I fucking beat Japan.
What do you
It's a
mean?
story for another day.
Yeah. Kyle Chalmers. And she looked at me and I looked at her and we couldn't work out how to explain it. And then she goes, Andrew's my godbrother. And I was like, what? What the fuck are you
Godbrother?
talking about? What the fuck is a godbrother?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, yeah, cool. And so got introduced to her husband and their kids and stuff, and that was all great. And then we went off. So then I rang mum and dad when I got in the car, and I was like, hey, just ran into Nicole. She said that I'm her godbrother. And they're like, yeah, we're her godparents. And I was like, what? You're her godparents. You haven't seen her in 25 years. How does that work? And they're like, yeah, we're actually godparents of a few people that we haven't seen.
Thankfully, their parents are still alive, so they had to take on the role.
And they named her a couple of names. I was
replacement
like,
parents.
what the fuck is going on here? And then they one of them was my cousin in Sydney, and his first name is Martin. So if anything happens to his family,
His name's Martin.
No, yeah, and then he comes across, he'll be known as Martin if we
You
decided
don't
to.
take your godmother
That's amazing.
last
In this
name.
case, it'd be fun.
I love that.
Double M.
So they have so many godchildren
Yeah.
that you potentially at some point in your illustrious love life may have hooked up with a god sister.
What? No. I mean, probably, but no.
It's just fine, I think.
I am a Catholic boy, and I've never done anything bad.
Oh, I mean, that's been said before.
Yeah, when I said to mum and dad, I was like, maybe you should get in contact with these people because they're looking for someone to, look up to, and
You're just knocking on the door.
Them.
Have you guys heard of podvertising?
yeah. No, thanks well with your family. Cool. All right, podcast advertising. It's a fantastic new medium.
Guys, we are running out of time. This has
No.
been a great round so far. I'm going to get a parking ticket. I don't care. Let's do the Shifty sound because we need to announce who the winner is of the Shifty sound.
No.
I like that one. What was that?
The Shifty sound. Thank you very much to the team at Shifty Lizard. Next week, we are going to have some Shifty Lizard beers in here so we can drink while we do it, Rosie, because we've
Can
got
I
to do a
come
boost
back?
team. You are part of the team, mate.
Yes.
It's awesome. So what we are going to do is play for you the sound, which has been pretty much up in the air for 2 weeks. And then I'll get both of your guesses, Andy and Rosie. Then we will announce the winner who wins the voucher to
Okay.
Shifty Lizard. Here is the sound. Rosie, what do you think it is?
Well, after your clue last week, which was something about...
It's not that confusing.
Yeah, so I thought Con, who's
Yes.
from the trophy...
Brighton
Come on,
Trophy
we talk
Centre,
about him, well, you should
major
know
sponsor.
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sticking with the word flicking.
I'm wearing a T-shirt that says his name.
Yep.
Flicking a...
Flicking-
Not a
What,
boob.
nipple?
I don't
Why did
know
you just
why I-
Why'd you flick your nipple? That was weird.
That is so weird.
I mean, for the people at home, but for us,
no,
I
neither do I.
meant to say flicking a trophy.
That is not a
I
trophy.
mean, some people call them trophies, I guess.
If you got that Italian trophy there, here she is now. Mate, I've got 2 trophies for you. All right. Jeepers.
Chris
my
has 1
guess.
trophy. That's good.
Can you not flick your breast, Andy?
Try and stop him now.
What do you think it is, Andy? Oh, you do know what it is?
No, I don't.
Okay, what
Was
do you
I
think?
wrong?
Yeah, you were wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2 glass trophies clinking together.
Very nice. Okay, so you're both wrong. The winner of the
Was it
Shifty...
flicking a boob?
Is it flicking a boob? I mean, if your boob sounds like that, that is definitely a little bit weird. The winner of the Shifty sound for this round is Simon Keith. And the Shifty sound is Con from Brighton Trophy Centre,
Yeah.
clinking 2 medals together. Play it again. 2 medals clinking together. Congratulations, Simon. You got that correct. Stubacker also guessed that, but he said, is it conflicting a medal / medallion from the Brighton Trophy Centre? You were close, but Simon was spot on, so we'll get that voucher to you, my friend. And next round, we'll have a new Shifty sound. That exciting?
Yes.
All right, let's go from, I don't want to, again, do a little bit of a segue, but from Rosie's trophy into Sexy Sam.
Sexy Sam.
Andy, can you please talk through the process of me listening to Pressbox F and what happens on your phone?
So every week, Jarrod sits back and relaxes, gets his phone out, and he's like, what am I going to listen to? I can listen to anything in the world. But this time, I'm going to listen to Pressbox Ep with Sam, with Dale, and with Jace. And he sits through there and he has a notepad and he writes down all the sexy moments that happen in that episode.
In this sports podcast.
In this sports podcast, which, some sports are sexy, don't get me wrong, and the way they move, that's a lot of
Lawn
sexual
bowls,
activity.
a lot of bending.
A lot of bending, if you're into the elderly. Jesus. Or just handling balls that are weirdly weighted. So I usually get a text and it's usually a lot of different texts that are just the lines of what people have said within this podcast. And I literally rang Jarrod yesterday after he sent me a heap and I said, are you having a stroke? This is very weird.
It's very full on. And I was listening to the sauna yesterday, actually, and then I just put my hand out of the sauna and messaged Andy. Funnily enough, they also had Hutto on, and Hutto's getting a fair bit of crap on social media because everyone thinks he looks like Rowie. So let's go into how this happened. The first Sexy Sam isn't actually Sam himself. This is a text message conversation that Jace, Sean Kemp and Dale Dustin Fletcher had with one another, and they were reading it out on the podcast. And I think it sounds like they were having a bit of a lover's tiff about who was, being romantic with who. Here is the chain of text messages between Jace, Sean Kemp and Dale Dustin Fletcher, which is pretty much Sexy Jace and Sexy Dale.
Let me know how I can give it to you.
Sexy Jace. So that was Jace saying that one there.
What was the context of that? No context needed.
Conversation continues, Rosie.
Okay.
I don't think this room could get any hotter.
Sexy
They're doing this
Sam.
on purpose now.
Do we have more?
Yes.
The window was open from 6 a.m.
Sexy Jace. The routing window, obviously. So you gotta think about it sometimes.
Yes, just context. I looked very confused. I didn't get the sexiness there, but
They
okay.
climbed in the window and they made love.
Wow.
So how sexy do you think the show is?
Ours or theirs?
Theirs. I mean, you've made today just completely different.
Based on those two, more sexy than I would consider a sports podcast to be.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Well, I guess sex is a sport for a lot of people, isn't it? Fuckboys tend to find it as a sport. Are they still around these days?
I don't know.
They have like a bun.
How do we get merchandise, Andos, and how do people follow us on the socials?
Yeah, if you want to follow us on the socials, look up at Best Team Men, unless we change the name at some point in the future, because that's Rosie's request.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. What was my request? To
Well,
make
maybe we
We're
need to
change the
make.
name?
I think Andrea
I did say
listens
that
to
right
the
up top.
podcast. Andrea, who was at the W League the other day. I think we need to get a T-shirt with Rosie on there or something. So, Rosie, have a think about what you want on the T-shirt. Potentially, we could have Best Team Men and the crossover.
What about like a W-O there? And then I'm off the mic.
Yeah,
so it's-
radio, no.
No, it's just
No?
great.
Okay.
So go to the Oscars website. You can follow us on the socials. Let's do the Back to the Future quiz to finish off this round because last week Andy absolutely delivered, and this is 10 questions. Let's do it. What are you laughing at?
Because you knew you had to segue
Yeah, I did,
about a couple of seconds when the song started. Anyway.
Yeah, my voice.
Into MC Jarrod vibe.
Good luck, guys. Good luck. Here we go. Question 1. Your name is your buzzer. What are your buzzers? Go!
Rosie!
Andy.
Oh, wow.
Wow, we really...
Very nice. Okay.
What personas there?
Question 1. What is the Spice Girls' biggest selling song?
Andy.
Rosie?
I'm going to just say Wannabe.
Wannabe is correct. Went to number 1 in 31 countries worldwide, became the biggest selling debut single of all time. Amazing stuff. Well done, everyone. A great start. Question 2. Name a character from the Power Rangers.
Andy.
Oh, nah.
Andy?
I'm out.
The yellow one?
You know what?
The pink one.
I'm going to take that as a technicality. Yeah. Well done, mate. Rest in peace, Trini. Okay, question... She died. Question 3.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, she did. She's in a
She
car
was the
accident.
yellow
They had to
one.
replace her. Yeah.
In the show or in real life?
In real life.
They
Oh,
had to
that's heavy.
replace her.
I'll take over, right?
Good game.
Good.
Nothing's
for
fun.
bringing it down. Question 3, who won the 2020 AFL Grand Final?
We're the worst.
You're kidding. It was like 3 months ago.
I was in the middle of an emotional crisis.
Andy? Geelong?
Oh, no. No, it's wrong. Does someone have another guess?
Andy? Richmond.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yay!
That's what I was going to say.
What year did Geelong win?
They won in 2007, 9 and 11.
Good on you.
Okay. Question 4, who won season 2 of Australian Idol?
Fucking hell.
Rosie. Was it Kalia? Anthony?
Oh, Anthony Kalia. No, he didn't win. Casey Donovan beat him.
Was that
Yeah,
year?
but did she win?
Yeah. Jared gets a point.
Was that year?
Then she rooted a fake ghost for a couple of years.
That's right. She did.
No.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was real.
Oh, yeah, maybe she should call the police then.
Just like that mermaid that bloody had the feather all over her. Okay, so question 5. What's the capital city of California? It's a bit of a trick question. Go.
I'll say Los Angeles.
No,
but it's not
incorrect. No.
Rosie, is it California?
No, it's not. It's Sacramento. Yeah,
What?
goodness, this
Wow,
is really
both
good.
I mean, do some marketing, guys. Come on.
Question 6. Name 2 NBA teams.
Rosie.
Andy, you're up first.
The Knicks
Yes.
and the Lakers.
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
Where are they from?
Oh, the America?
Andy's winning 3-1. Question 7. The biggest song of 2020.
Oh, could be anything, really, couldn't it?
Oh, Rosie.
Rosie?
Was it... was it short? No. Is it something from Shawn Mendes, something from Taylor Swift, or something from...
It's quite broad answer.
Yeah,
We need
just,
one.
I mean, one of them. Yeah, we're running out of time.
I don't think Senorita was 2020. I think it was 2019.
I mean, is that a question or are you answering it?
Was it Senorita? Am I too off?
Yeah, you're off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well-
incorrect. Yeah. Andy, you got to...
Can I have a hint?
Yeah.
Cool.
They have recently performed the song live at a big event.
Okay. Was it WAP?
No, you're out. See ya.
Fuck.
It was The Weekend Blinding Lights. Question 8.
You remember that when they see WAP?
Who is the purple Ninja Turtle?
Rosie.
Yeah?
Leonardo.
No, incorrect.
Damn it, Raffaello.
No, that's also incorrect.
Michelangelo?
No, that is also incorrect.
Wait, who's left? Donatello.
Yeah, correct. Well done. You get a point, even though you guessed it 7 times. Question 9. Spell the word linguistics.
Rosie.
Oh, yep.
Linguistics.
Correct.
Yes.
That's
So
because
it's-
your
I'm a
dog
geek.
is called Linguini.
My dog is called Linguini, so it was really
Thought about
close.
it.
Thanks.
Question 10. Closest to without going over. You both get to put in a guess. This is for
Can
the
I
win.
just stop everyone and let everyone know how you're keeping score?
Yeah.
With his fingers. He's got like 3 little sausages on each hand.
Or I could do this, but that's it's question.
That is inappropriate.
Question 10.
Put that pinky down.
Question 10.
What has happened, guys?
Rosie just said, spell barracuda. Question 10. Closest to without going over.
Okay, all right.
How old is Justin Bieber? You both get a guess. How old is Justin Bieber? Closest to without going over.
Andy.
Yeah.
28.
Rosie?
I'm going to say... just gave myself a drum roll. He hasn't hit 30. 27.
One of you is correct. The other one is not. And the winner of the Back to the Future quiz, week 3, is Rosie Panetta.
Great.
Congratulations. Been great having you here, Rosie. Andy, it's been a pleasure. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, like the podcast. We will be back with another Shifty sound next week. You guys going to say anything? Say goodbye or anything?
Yeah. Have a great week, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Rosie, got
Rosie.
anything else
Jarrod,
to
you're
add?
awesome.
No.
Okay, see you next time. Bye.
Brought to you by the Brighton Trophy Center. Cups, trophy, badges, medals. Yeah, we do it better. Best team, man. DTC, BTF, BTS. Yeah. Best team, man. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Okay.